Hey everybody, I'm back. I'm here to do a video. Yeah, we're doing something pretty cool. It's the $100 NES challenge. I can't remember who started this. I know that DOYouNerd did one, as well as recently today, my buddy MaxImpact24. And I was watching his video and I was like, you know what, this sounds fun. I'm gonna do this. And I'm gonna be honest, some sacrifices had to be made. So the concept is, if you had $100, what would you put with that $100 to the NES collection of your choice? There were some staple hoods that I was like, I have to. And then there's some others that I was like, oh, this would have been on my list. I gotta leave it off. So this is my list. Now, I want you to keep in mind two things. One, I rounded down based on the current price as of today. So if it was above 50 cents, I would consider that, okay, that's, the next dollar value. If it was under, I would say, okay, that's gonna be less, so I'll bump it down. So I'll give you the values based on that information and my picks, and also keep in mind, this is just gonna be loose. I'm gonna be showing some box copies. In fact, most of these are boxed, but I'm not factoring in boxes and manuals. It's just they happen to be in boxes currently. So please take that for what it was. Now, this is my personal list. This is not everyone's possible list. I recognize that everyone will have a different list. Please don't be offended if the game that you would put in your list is not on my list. In fact, if you do this video, if you do this whole thing, pop a comment down below with a link, and I'll make sure to try to approve it if it comes across my dashboard, because a lot of times these links get kind of lost in the shuffle. But I think that'd be fun to kind of showcase other people's $100 challenge collection. So here's mine in a nutshell. Come on, Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest is a must own for me. I have to have this in my $100 NES collection. Currently it is going for $14 loose, which is a pretty good deal, if I say so. I mean, this is a classic Castlevania title. To get it loose for 14 bucks, you can't go wrong. This one will take you some time to beat. This is not a standard, run and jump, kind of Mario style game. This is a game where you really got to put in the time and effort to learn it so that you can master it. And so I feel like this would be a good kind of desert island game as well. If you only had $100 to your name and an NES and you were on a deserted island. I don't know why I'm throwing in this deserted island thing, but there you go. Next on my list is, I don't know, maybe some people will be surprised by this, but pinball. Yeah, NES Pinball. I love NES Pinball. I don't know what it is. It's super clunky. It's not the greatest pinball game, but and I'm sure there's better pinball games on the NES. I've heard Pinbot is pretty good. I've heard Pinball Quest is pretty fun. But this was the first pinball game I ever played, and it's just, man, it means something to me. I don't know what it is. I love all the sound effects, all the punchy sound effects, like when you get the seals, the boo, 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 boo. It's just so great. I love this game, so I would throw this in. For $7, you can't go wrong getting it loose like this. It's a really fun game. Much like my buddy MaxImpact24, I had to go with Super Mario Brothers Duck Hunt. Yep, Super Mario Brothers Duck Hunt. $5 for this one. That's the total on it. If I was to just go with Super Mario Brothers, it would have been a good chunk of the money, almost a quarter of the money to play Mario. So it's $5 Mario Duck Hunt. You can't go wrong. I mean, Duck Hunt alone is just such a phenomenal game. It's so much fun. If you've got the zapper, which let's just assume you've got all the accessories. You can't go wrong with the zapper. I mean, the zapper, Duck Hunt, Mario Brothers. It's a two-player game for both games, really. So you can have fun with a friend. So this game has a lot of sentimental value to me as well, just because it was one of the very first games I ever played. Both Mario and Duck Hunt. When I got an NES back in, geez, 88 or whatever, or 80, I think it was 89 when I got my NES. Yeah, this was the first game that came packed in with it, Mario Duck Hunt. And I spent hours with both. I mean, just a significant chunk of my childhood right here. I love me some quirky, funky, stiff action games, and Styen Ax is definitely one of them. This title is just, there's something about it. I remember getting this for my birthday back in the day, and I have always loved this game. It's one of those games that I could always go back to and keep playing and beat and just go back to it, you know, after a certain amount of time. It's got great cutscenes, awesome music, and, you know, just a lot of fun to play. And it can get challenging at points, but, you know, if you've mastered the game, then it's pretty simple. This one for $7 is a good deal in my opinion, just to get it loose like that. There's not too many action games for under $10, and so this is definitely one of the ones that I would recommend to anybody who's looking for just like a solid action game for under 10. Now, I know I've got a lot of action games on this list, and that's just because action games are my favorite genre for the most part. Action adventure, action RPG, platform games, running guns, like those types of games I love. But this game, man, I enjoy it so much. Snake, Rattle, and Roll. This one for $11 is just the sweet spot of action platforming, or puzzle platforming, if you will. You're going around as one of two snakes, either Rattle or Roll, and you're just trying to eat a bunch of little blobs that are kind of floating all over the place. You have to watch out for the giant foot. It's like a giant foot. It's like a Bigfoot that kind of pops in and out as you know you go through. There's so many weird, quirky things about this game that kind of try to trick you. And once you get the mechanics down, it's so much fun. I've never beaten this one, but it's a game that I revisit very frequently. It's a fun, kid-friendly game too, so if you've got kids like I do, you can show them this and, you know, maybe they'll get a kick out of it, you know, to see the archaic graphics from back in the day, and maybe they'll get into the puzzle aspect of it, to try to figure out how to navigate to certain platforms within the like constricted means of the NES. So this game is top notch, belongs in my collection, and for the price, there's very few other types of games like this on the system that I would recommend, other than this one, of course. All right, I had to include it. Mega Man 3. Yep, $24. Whew, that's a hefty boy, but this is the best game on the NES in my opinion. Better than Simon's Quest. I cannot tell you how many times I've beaten this game. I was like in college, I would hang out and just like play this game over and over and over again. When I was a kid, over and over and over again. I've beaten it so many ways. It's kind of embarrassing how much I've beaten this game. I love this game to death. I love the Robot Masters. The music is incredible. There's maybe one song in the whole soundtrack, which is Gemini Man's track. Sorry for those of you who are fans of Gemini's track. I just can never really get into it. I love the entire soundtrack other than that song. Proto Man's theme's a little grating, but I don't know. It's still very hummable and gets you going. This is it, man. This is the only boxed NES Mega Man game that I own. The rest of them, the boxes were just too expensive, but this one I snatched up for a while back. While I could for, I think the whole thing complete in box was like maybe $50. My copy's actually signed by Inafune, my co-host on XVGM Radio, Justin, went to MagFest when Inafune was there, and he got him to sign it, so like, I cannot thank Justin enough for that. That was so cool. So, anyways, that's my thing. This game will never ever leave my collection ever, and even though it's kind of pricey on my $100 NES list, it's well worth it. It's a game you can revisit over and over and over again and never get sick of it, at least in my opinion. Little Nemo, the Dream Master, and for $11, it's definitely going in my list. I mean, yeah, I could have included Zelda. Yeah, I could have included Mario too, but both of those games, again, were like $20+. You know, I didn't even check Zelda. I knew like Zelda was going to be a heavy hitter, but you know, Shatterhand, like those types of games. They're all like super expensive. Shadow of the Ninja, you know, Vice Project Doom, like all those games now are like way expensive, like 40, 50, 60 bucks. And Little Nemo has always kind of been one of those action games that's right under that register. Like nobody really is going back and playing this one, which is a shame because it's one of the most fun action games I've played on the NES. I mean, you play as Little Nemo, and it's loosely based on the movie that came out, and of course the comic strip, you know, long before. But most people know the movie. I'm pretty sure that the movie came out after this game came out. This game came out in like 90 or something like that, and the movie came out in like 92, if I recall. Again, don't quote me on those timelines, but yeah, you get a free Mega Man sticker with this purchase, it says. That'd be cool. I gotta hunt down the Mega Man sticker for this game. Anyways, Little Nemo is a game where you play as Little Nemo and you're running around with candy, throwing candy at these monsters, these different types of characters, animals, you know, bees that you can like fly on, monkeys, like gorillas, all different kinds of critters and characters. And so you're riding or basically stealing the powers of these characters to go around and fight the bad guys. You're trying to get to the Nightmare King at the end of the game. And it's just a really fun action platformer. This is a childhood memory that I will always remember playing through this game. I remember when I finally beat it, I felt so accomplished. It's like one of those games that like I just keep going back to. So this is a great game, well worth it. This is the last expensive game on my list, and it's Ninja Gaiden 2. This one, for sure, was a solid childhood memory for me. And I'm trying not to include nostalgia too much in this list. I'm more basing it on what I know about these games and my replay value on these games. I can replay this game anytime, and it's the easiest of the trilogy, for sure, absolutely. It's got great cutscenes, it's got amazing music, so good. All the NES Ninja Gaiden games were so good, and it's just a lot of fun to play. Action-wise, it's pretty intense. It really gets up there, and it's just a fun game. I don't know. I just have always loved, I don't know if it's the cover art or what, but I've always loved Ninja Gaiden 2. So to get this in your collection for the price loose, I think it was about $15, that's a rock solid deal in my opinion. Why this game still goes for so little when it hasn't really been properly re-released, at least not more recently, is beyond me, because these games, these Ninja Gaiden games, should all be going for insane prices. I know the third one's a little bit more expensive nowadays, but loose, this one, 15, that's an amazing offer for that. Now, they can't all be gems, but at the same time, man, I don't know what it is about Iron Sword Wizards and Warriors 2, but to make my list as the final game for $4, I was like, I need a $4 game. And this happens to, when you round it down, this happens to be a $4 game loose. And I loved playing this growing up. The box art with Kuros on the cover, with Fabio playing Kuros, was just so awesome, so badass. I was just like really into the fantasy element of it. You play as Kuros trying to climb to the top of the mountain to finish off the big bad in this, his name is I think Malkill or something like that. So this one you can also go into shops and upgrade your weapons, upgrade your helmet, stuff like that. You have to save all these spells and elementals and use those on the boss of each stage. So I just had so much fun with this. I will say it's also a really frustratingly difficult game. You can die like that, just like super easy to die in this game. But it's one that like even if I died, I would keep going back to it over and over again. I wouldn't let the deaths defeat me. I would want to keep playing and keep learning how to master this game. So I've beaten it maybe twice. I know one of those times was with save states, but I think when I was a kid, I recall beating this one, finishing it, and it was a challenge. It was seriously really hard. I can for the most part, with very little effort, get to the fire level. But once I hit the fire level, like, that's it. I cannot progress any further. You know, this was a lot of fun. You know, the community aspect of just getting together with a bunch of people and telling you, the viewer, what my list of things are. It's fun. It's fun to do that every now and then. Not everything has to be this big operatic, you know, process, you know, where you're spending all this time and effort on putting out content. Sometimes you just need some light, fluffy stuff to kind of get you in that nostalgia groove. So now I want to hear from you. What is on your $100 NES list? Leave down below in the comments your own list, or if you've made your own video, feel free to pop it down there, and if I can approve it. Sometimes YouTube doesn't let me like approve links. They just automatically think links are bad, so they won't even pop up in my registry. But if it does, I'll be sure to add it there if you do a video like this, as far as that goes. So that's it. That's all I got. Thanks so much, guys, for watching. I'm not going to go into the whole YouTube thing. You know it. You got it. You want to support it? Cool. If not, no big deal. Anyways, peace out. Enjoy your weekend. Later.